dads from the crypt.
Hello, boils and ghouls. Welcome to episode 227 of Dads from the Crypt. My name is Jason. Today I'm joined by Mondo.
Hello.
Hello, Mondo of the sore back.
Of the what?
Of the sore back.
The sore back, a little hungover. You know, very high energy today.
One might say you are of the dead.
No, I'm definitely not dead. I'm definitely here. As far as I know, like, who knows anything anymore? You know the theory that when the what was it, the Hadron Collider went off, that it fucking basically everybody, the whole world died and got thrown into a new multiverse. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I've heard different variations of that.
Yes, we might be dead. Who knows?
More like you are a state of decay.
Yeah, dude, that's how I feel. I definitely feel in a state of decay, man. Like, just sat down for too long at work because I got really busy. And now my back is fucked. Which is
then how long were you in the chair for the other day?
I got a long tattoo session, and then plus like office chairs, being in the office chair for like 4 hours straight, which is rare for me. Usually at work, and this is a tip to anybody that works at a desk: get up and walk around like every hour. I usually get up and walk around my office, walk around the or downstairs at the office, and then go back to work. But when like tried, and body's got really busy on some tasks and didn't, and now I am paying for it. So that's a pro tip for all you youngins out there before you have to deal with this kind of shit.
Especially if you like cross your legs or something while you're sitting, just like cross them the opposite direction to give your body like counterbalance. Or if you're like or if you're sitting like one towards one way, try to go the other way.
Yeah, I've been reading too, like a footstool under your desk is supposed to be good for you. Yeah, we'll see, man. I'm gonna start throwing some shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. Maybe I just need a new office chair.
Yeah, or get a good go to a reputable masseuse.
All right, so I'm gonna. There is definitely a difference between a masseuse and a massage therapist. This kind of stuff you should really be going to massage therapists, physical therapists for. And I'm not going to knock anybody out there because just being a masseuse out there and giving people fucking great massages is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to devalue that profession because they have to go through schooling too and learn all that stuff. But like when you're dealing with what could be like, and also, I mean, I do jujitsu a lot, so it could be also years of that and sports related. When you have that kind of stuff, it's really good to go to a massage therapist or a physical therapist because they know how to work around injuries and how to work with injuries, as opposed to just trying to rub on it, which usually, works in some cases, but like years when I messed my neck up years and years ago, I went to a masseuse and they fucked it up even worse because I had a pinched nerve and they worked on it and fucking pinched the nerve. Like I walked out of there feeling 10 times worse when I walked in. So just be careful. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. Because I used to just go to like the cheapest massage place I could find, and those are fine. But then like turns out my insurance when I switched jobs covered a handful of massage therapy appointments. So I found a massage therapist and went to them like, oh, okay, there's a difference here.
Yeah, there really is. And again, not to knock anybody you're at your normal masseuse. Like that's not an easy job. Like you still got to be good and know your stuff, but it's a different level when you hit it's a different, I don't know if a different level is the right term, but it's a different version of massage when you go for massage therapy.
Right.
So I got my personal, my PT. My buddy Mike Edwards, for anybody in Las Vegas. He does fascia manipulation too, dry needling, all that stuff, and he is a miracle worker. So if anybody's listening to this from Las Vegas, if you guys need some physical therapy, Mike Edwards, just search him on Facebook or not Facebook, on Google. He is your guy.
Nice.
Just point that out.
Oh, right. And while we're giving shout outs, we'll give a shout out to our Patreon. We have reviews for movies such as Weapons, Companion, Ugly Stepsister, Him, Together, Begonia, Good Boy, Stranger Things Season 5, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, and Bone Lake. So check out our Patreon for that as well. You also get early releases of these episodes.
I think it's an ongoing joke now that I still have not seen Bone Temple.
I think it's coming to digital too in like a couple days.
Yeah, I'm just at this point waiting. Like I really want to see it in theaters, but like just my back being jacked up and just I've been so busy with work and other things in life. I just haven't had the time for it. Yeah. We'll talk about some releases when we get to horror news, I'm sure, but there's some cool stuff coming out.
All right. So this week again, we're continuing our coverage of the Masters of Horror series. We're on the third episode, Dance of the Dead, which came out in November 2005. I'm going to read a bit of a plot synopsis I found here.
I can synopsize this really fast.
Okay.
So it's based off a Richard Matheson novel of the same name, right?
Did you read it?
Huh?
The one that Jody
No. Jody sent a copy around us, but I did not get a chance to read it.
I speed read it.
But essentially, it starts off at a birthday party where it's a bioterrorist weapon. I forgot what it's called, Blizz, that basically rains down acid that burns people. So what you have here is now you've had that happen. We've gone through World War III. Some states don't exist, and you have Peggy and her mom Kate that work at a diner, and some ruffians come through after they steal blood from an old couple, and you find out that they're selling blood and people to the doom room so they can basically torture these zombie-like creatures. They're not technically zombies. Well, they are technically zombies, right? Yeah, I'm failing at the synopsis, Jason. You go ahead.
No, you're doing great. So yeah,
I felt really good about it, and I started, and I was like, not
so essentially, yeah, we're in this like kind of quasi post-apocalyptic future where like things are still there, but just people are just kind of more fucked up. Like they still have like a diner and they're still making apple pie. So like there's some fragments of society, but then there's also like these like towns that are just kind of like somewhat Mad Max. Like some towns are Mad Max, some look like Americana. But again, they don't really do much as far as setting up the world, but that isn't really the point.
There's like a casual mention that like California doesn't exist anymore or something like that.
So something has happened. We know that.
Yeah.
Our main character is Peggy. Again, she's a younger, naive woman living, with her mom. Her sister and her father are deceased. They encounter some ruffians, but Peggy is intrigued by them, so she meets them late at night to go joyriding with them. And they're doing all these kind of, the main guy that's driving is like just doing all the drugs and drinking all the beer and liquor.
All the drugs. He's getting burnt with a car cigarette lighter on the neck because he's on drugs. Yeah.
You ever burn yourself on one of those?
No, what's funny is like I only now they don't even come in cars anymore.
Yeah, they don't exist.
But my first vehicle ever was a 1979 Chevy Econoline van with doors that wouldn't open from the inside. Just FYI.
Oh God.
Like I talk about I picked my wife up for our first date in that thing. Imagine that. And she still later on decided to marry me, even though I had this very creepy van. But yeah, that's the last vehicle I owned, I think, that had one in there, and it didn't work. So no, I didn't.
Right. So go ahead. Talking about those burns. Yeah, one time as a kid, I didn't quite understand what it was, and I burnt myself on it.
Hold on a second. So you pressed this thing and you pulled it out. You saw that it was red hot and probably emitting heat, and you still decided to touch it?
Yeah.
Okay. How old were you, Jason?
I don't remember.
Okay.
That's how young it was.
If you're like 5 or 6, I'm like, okay, I can see that happen. If you're like 13, dude, I think you deserve what you got.
Somewhere between there. I don't think I was 13. I definitely wasn't 13. I would have known better then, but I don't know if I was 5. I do remember the smell. That's one of those smells that once you smell it, you don't forget.
Well, you never gotten LASIK before. You get LASIK, you can smell your eyes burning.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they eventually get to this town that's just kind of like Mad Max style. People are just in the streets, just fire twirling and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. They end up going to the Doom Room, which is this kind of music venue / burlesque performance.
Yeah, it's kind of like what people would imagine like a goth or like an S&M club to be.
Yeah.
Real over the top. Like I don't know if any place that I've ever really. I'm sure they have places that are that over the top have existed, but it's not like a common thing you see.
It's one of those things that you see in movies. I'm thinking like Hellraiser 3, where like clubs like this actually exist. I don't know.
Well,
maybe I just wasn't cool enough to go to them.
Yeah, I've never been cool enough to show up with those. Like my wife has gone a couple times. The ones they've done out here, with like one of her friends, with like the vampire night or something like that. And they dress up and look great and stuff like that. I don't like dressing up. Yeah. And B, I don't have like clothes to fit into those places. So That's not saying anything bad about the place. That's all saying bad stuff about me. So
I will say I think clothing is optional. So
no,
you can go
not
that route too.
Absolutely not. Clothing is not optional. At like a goth
No, I'm
night,
saying at this club. At this club.
Okay. Still, nobody wants to see that either. Like, if I can't go in like flip flops and shorts and a tank top, I don't know if I want to be there.
Yeah. Anyways, so the person running this club is played by Robert Englund. That's kind of like the MC. And they give off these performances where they have these zombified people from the chemical warfare, and they bring them out, and they're like not zombies that can bite you and turn you into. They're just kind of like people that have just been like zombified. And then
I haven't read the book, but I know in the book it's something they inject them with. Almost they're doing it so that soldiers could get up off the battlefield after they got killed and keep fighting, which is pretty crazy.
I think I speed read it, so I didn't quite get that impression, but maybe I missed something. Anyways, they bring out these zombies, and then they basically take out these cattle prods and shock them into dancing. They just like watch them, and then everyone like goes crazy for it. They think it's the coolest thing ever to watch these people just be tortured on stage and jerk around. That's quote the dance of the dead. And then this part was a little confusing to me. So again, I'm kind of reading off a plot synopsis. So Peggy is watching in horror, where she has some buried memories resurface, and she ultimately recognizes that one of the performers is her mother, revealed to be murdered by Peggy's guardian and sold to the club as part of its grotesque entertainment. Now, I thought it was her sister.
No, yes, it's her sister. So her sister, and then at the very end, she confronts her mom about it, and her mom admits to everything. And then then she sells her mom into the club, and then she turns into a drug addict person too. Like
so Peggy like decides to accept her new surroundings and becomes a patron of the club and watches her mother be tortured as a zombie on stage.
Nobody has
a good old fun time that we always Tobe Hooper always brings, the good fuzzy feelings. So
yeah, always.
All right, Mondo, what do you think of this episode?
All right, I didn't care for it.
Yeah.
It's some of the worst of the early 2000s. Like, if you would have shown me this and not told me it was, and if I didn't know it was Tobe Hooper doing it, I never would have believed that it was Tobe Hooper doing this. Because the editing is such early, like late. I mean, we talked about this before, but that early 2000s music video style, but enough to where it's very jarring. And it's almost, and it looks cheap and looks. I mean, the club parts look good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the whole movie looks cheap, but a lot of the editing comes off that way. Almost like a made-for-TV after-school special movie, the way the transitions happen in some of the scenes and the way the effects are. Like you mentioned the part where they're riding in a car doing drugs. Like, I almost turned it off at that point because it was giving me a headache watching it. And I think the performances are not good, aside from Robert Englund. Robert Englund, when he's on screen, is just chewing up scenery, and he's fantastic. Like, he is very fun to watch in this, and he's so good at being fucking creepy. And I didn't even think about this, but like right when he walks on the stage, before you even see his face, you can't really quite, because it's kind of a far shot, you can tell it's him by the swagger and the way he walks. And I absolutely love that about Robert Englund. When Robert Englund is chewing up scenery, it is awesome. When he's not on screen, it falls very short. The mother actress and Peggy are pretty good. I do have some qualms with like her being 17 in this, and I don't know if she was 17 in the book or not, but they definitely play it like they mention her age, but realistically, I feel, it doesn't make sense that she's allowed in this club at 17. It doesn't make sense. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense about that, but I think some of the worst acting is from one of the baddies, one of the bad guys, the main bad guy, not Jack, the one she kind of has a love interest with. Like, he is just making these faces that I'm like, bro, like, did you like before you started act, before you got on set, did you read a book like How to Look Mean? And it was laughably bad. And so yeah, but I think overall, like this, it's from a good story. Richard Matheson's known for writing awesome stories. I do really want to read the book because I thought the ideas behind it were really good, and kind of the mentality of the world's gone to shit, so now we're okay with abusing. It's almost, talking about how our fascination with as human beings, we're fucked up, right? And we take pleasure in watching other human beings I mean, even as horror nerds to an extent, right? As seeing these people like go through these grotesque things, but I think it's even more jarring to go to a live place and watch these zombies being treated with cattle prods like animals, and that shouldn't be done to animals either. So I'm really interested to read the novella. It's a short book, and see how that corresponds with this and like what Matheson was trying to do with what he wrote. But overall, I think this suffers from a lot of just bad editing, some very questionable shots. Billy Corgan scored this and he did a horrible job. Just gonna say that. Like, the music is fucking terrible in it. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, don't get me wrong. And at an hour, it never overstays its welcome. It's never boring. There's always something going on, at least. But I didn't find it, between the acting and the jarring like flashbacks and the weird transitions, like the blizz cloud showing in the sky. Like, I was wondering like if it was just bad video quality at that point. And I was like, oh no, that's how it looks. So yeah, I'm gonna say I was not a fan of this one. Like, we started off with 2 really good episodes, and this one kind of took a nosedive. So yeah,
especially after last week's one. That was a really good one.
Yeah.
So okay, a couple things. The short story is only 12 pages long. I speed read it real quick, and essentially the story is just a scene of her in the car and her at the club. That's kind of it. And she's basically a college freshman. They're all college students, and she's like been dragged to, and then she was like kind of a loner. These guys asked her to go with them, so she thought.
That makes it even weirder they mention her age so much in this, because they didn't even have to mention her age.
I know. So yes, and then it's basically that. Then they get to the club and they watch the dancing. There's no other background stuff happening. No, there's nothing further to that with her sister or her mother. Like, she hears things. She remembers things her mother told her. But that's kind of it. And again, maybe I'm missing something. They're singing these songs. It's not. I don't know. Maybe I need to read it closer to get more out of it. It is funny. It was written in 1954, and it takes place in the year 1997.
Oh wow, isn't that funny?
The far off dystopian future of 1997 after the Third World War,
and a couple other pieces too that were kind of the one thing I did like when she fed the sandwich to the woman that was burned, and later on you see that was someone at the birthday party, a mother at the birthday party. So they do a good job, I think, of painting the mom as being just like this terrible human being, and I think the mom actually does a pretty decent job of acting out the way she acts it, because at first when you see her, she seems like just a loving mother, but they start putting these little but she has this tone to her that sounds almost condescending. I thought that was actually really good.
Yeah. I think the problem is that they took a 2-scene short story that could only really be like 5-10 minutes of screen time, and then they have to fill it to an hour plus, and it's this whole dystopian world thing, and they don't really give us much to hang our hat on to understand what this world is. So like, maybe in these other towns they don't have laws, but in this town they do. Again, there's a lot of stuff that they want us to buy into. And that's the problem with anthology, is you have to set up a world very quickly and tell your story. And the more complicated your world is, the harder that task is to do.
Exactly. So, like, I think they could have left a lot of that world building. It could have been very simplistic world building and just say World War III happened. It's lawlessness now. Here's where we're at. And then it would have been fine. I don't think you need any more than that.
Yeah. Like, they need to give us something to kind of do that. And I think Tobe Hooper, as a director, he makes movies that are made to be abrasive to a degree. They're not quite pleasant. That's kind of his style, which is fine. That's good. That's what we love him for. But when you take that with a story that isn't quite hitting on cylinders, and with that really early 2000 aesthetic, the worst of that aesthetic, and the budget constraints, it all just kind of mashes together to make it harder to watch in a bad way.
And you brought up the book, how it's only basically 2 sets. I think he should have really kind of leaned into that, because we saw with Tales from the Crypt how much sometimes they're able to do with small set pieces and limited actors, and I'd much rather see that and see it just flesh that car right out, flesh the club out, and everything else can go away, and I'm okay with that.
Well, give us like quicker flashbacks. We don't need to see like her home life and all this other stuff. Like, the story's just, it's too much and not enough at the same time.
Yeah, I thought it was really weird when they showed her I mean, obviously they mentioned her sister, right?
Mhm.
But then they had that flashback at the birthday party with her eating the cake, and she's like, "I wish Daddy was alive. Daddy would have let me do it," you know. And I'm just like, we didn't need that. It felt so
Yeah.
after TV after school special at that point. I'm like, God, like it's and you made a good point too, saying like when you take a 12-page short story and try to stretch it out to an hour, I think it's one of those things where less would have been more.
Mhm. Yeah, well, it's interesting because Tobe Hooper has directed quite a few anthology episodes. He did do, the Tell Script episode, Dead Weight, another standout episode. He did
Yeah.
the pilot of Freddy's Nightmares, which is a really good episode, probably the best episode of the entire series.
100% the best stuff. I think I talked about it here when I tried rewatching that series. I made it through the first three episodes, and because we had talked one time about reviewing it, and I was like,
Yeah.
you know, the first episode, I was like, all right, this is cool, and then I was like, oh, okay, that's where all the and then you read about how all the budget went basically to Robert Englund.
Right. Yeah, Robert Englund by far the best thing. If you want to see Robert Englund getting filleted by a zombie, this is the place to watch it.
I absolutely loved the shitty job they did on his hair. I thought it looked so perfect for him.
Yeah, it was really, though I will say it was really gross just watching how they're oogling the zombies too.
Yeah.
Like there's like scenes of just like naked zombies laying around, and Robert Englund or other people are just like fondling them. It's like felt really gross. But again,
And it's
I know it's
supposed
supposed to be gross, but that doesn't mean I like it.
No, and but you mentioned though that is like what Tobe Hooper likes to do, right? He likes to make people feel uncomfortable.
Mhm. But again, but then you take something like Texas Chainsaw, it's beautifully shot, it's wonderfully edited, wonderfully acted. So like it balances off the intensity of what's happening on screen
Yeah.
because it's so well made. But here it's not quite well made.
Yeah.
Which just like it makes it exponentially harder to watch. It compounds it.
I'm with it, and also I should say too the actress that played the main female protagonist, she did a fine job.
Yeah, okay. So we got to talk about her. So her name is Jessica Lowndes. She has a pretty wide filmography, a lot of TV specials, but I guess she really got on the Hallmark lifestyle. What's it called?
Lifetime movies.
Lifetime movies. So these, I just picked out her Christmas theme movies. She has a ton, but these are the Christmas theme movies she's done. Christmas at Pemberley Manor, Rediscovering Christmas, Too Close for Christmas, Angel Falls Christmas, I'm Glad It's Christmas.
Yeah. She also played in a movie called Larry Gay, Renegade Male Flight Attendant from 2015.
Oh, sure.
That's an interesting title for a movie there. She was in what was it? Devil's Carnival by Darren Lynn Boozman. And her last actual horror movie she did, or actually major film she did, was Abattoir, which I recognize the cover. I don't think I've seen it before, but she's in that, also a Darren Lynn Boozman production.
Yeah, I mean she's good in this, but again, it's so of its time that like I can't like. I feel like she's doing kind of a Megan Fox impersonation.
Yeah, I do find it funny that she's in the diner all day with not wearing like I wouldn't say no makeup, obviously, minimalistic makeup, and then suddenly the guy shows back up at night and now she's got full on makeup on, like she was planning to go out.
Yeah, again, when I was watching, especially the driving scene in the main guy box played by Ryan McDonald, I'm like, this guy's intolerable. And again, I'm like, that's probably what they mean by it. I'm sure he's intentionally, he's high off his mind. So yeah, he's not gonna be eloquent or likable. That's not the point. But yeah, it just made it really hard to watch. He was on a lot of episodes of Fringe, but he was also one of the neo-Nazis in Becky.
He was probably better on that because I don't remember him taking it out of it. And again, like this was one of his earliest film roles, I think.
Yeah, all these people, all the younger actors, it's all their first stuff.
Yeah,
the guy who plays Jack, the other main lead, is Jonathan Tucker. He was most recently in Westworld. He was in The Ruins, and he was in the Texas Chainsaw remake.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
this guy with the big curly hair and the mustache.
Looking at Ryan McDonald, like if you look at his early roles, he was letter sweater guy.
Yeah.
student in classroom. Like so this is probably one of his first attempts to be, in a main role. And again, though, like I don't feel bad insulting his acting in this because again, it was so early in his career. And he's obviously kept acting, and good for him, man. I hope he's fucking doing great.
It's also a hard role to ask a young actor to do, to be
very much so. Yeah. He definitely didn't act with any nuance. It was all just like in your face. And he's probably a really nice guy, and you're trying to make him play like this really horrible person. And a lot of people is tough.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, we don't know what his acting direction was. I'm sure he was told to go as big as possible, as loud as possible, as unknowing as possible. And he hit that. But then you think about like Malcolm McDowell in Clockwork Orange, like, that kind of, that's a very special actor who's able to pull that off with charisma. And that's kind of a difference.
And I'm going to say, you can get there, right? But it's going to be really hard to do that in your first role. Like every now and again, you get those actors that are lightning in a bottle, and like every other profession in the world or hobby, there's levels to everything, right? Like I've been playing guitar since middle school, and I'll never be as good as fucking Steve Vai. Like it's just never going to happen. We're born with different levels of talent, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay.
All right. Let's do our episode ranking or rating 0 to 5, 5 being the best, 0 being the worst. Where do you fall on this?
It gets a 2 for Robert Englund.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I guess and production design, especially of the club, was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think it's a complete waste of time to watch it. I don't know.
It was a little hard to get through. I'll be honest.
It's a long hour watch, but I do think what's good, like again, you mentioned the club and the set pieces, and Robert Englund are really good, but everything else, just skip to the Robert Englund parts if you're gonna watch this.
And also, like, I'm a big Smashing Pumpkins fan, so when I saw that, I was kind of pumped for it, and I was really let down. I know that this is like in their industrial phase, but
yeah, the music was not good, and I'm also not a fan of industrial music, really. I remember I saw Ministry open for Slayer when Slayer did their last ever their farewell tour, and I was just like, I went to go buy beer. This is obnoxious.
I mean, again, I'm not opposed to it, but make it good, and it just wasn't good.
Right, very much so.
Yeah, so I'm also a 2, and also mostly for Robert Englund, because he always goes for it, and it's funny to see like how many Tobe Hooper related things Robert Englund's done. Because again, he did the Freddy's Nightmares,
the Marquis de Sade in Night Terrors.
Yeah, and he was also in The Mangler, I believe.
Yeah,
and he was one of Robert Englund's first roles was in Eat Alive.
Oh, that's right. That is right. Yeah,
the Alligator movie, which is a fun movie. And he's very sleazy in that. Really sleazy. So yeah, it's fun to see that when an actor and a director kind of find some synergy like that. That's always a good time.
Yeah, and like I said, man, like you cannot go wrong with Robert Englund. You just can't. He's such a fun actor, and like you said, he goes for it in everything he's in. Like he doesn't half-ass a role.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's do a quick shout out.
Hey there, this is Ira Hayden from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, the Wizard Master, and you are listening to Dads from the Crypt. Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
I love him so much.
I know, he's such a good guy.
He is, and I fucking Dream Masters, man. Or Dream Warriors, what a fucking just A+ movie.
Yeah, I just got the box set, the 4K one. So
yeah, I was very jealous. I paid full price for it, and you know what I just saw? Getting a little ahead of ourselves in the horror news here, but they are repressing the Steelbook set.
Ooh.
And I'm trying to decide: do I need another copy of this? Because goddamn, that Steelbook set looks rad. Well,
are you talking about the one with the striped box?
Yes.
Okay, it's the same discs. I mean, the box is cool and all, but like, I'm like, I'll pay like half the price for the same content, just in a slightly normal package. I'm never gonna look at that often.
I mean, it's going to look very nice on my shelf, and I am trying very hard not to spend a lot of money on this. I'm just saying, we'll see what happens though. What'll likely happen is I'll just get high one night and forget that I'm not rich, and I'll order it.
Yeah, or wait for eBay. What I need is a new Blu-ray player, is an actual 4K player, not just my PS5.
I'm actually in the same boat. I like my Xbox; it plays just fine. But I know a dedicated one does look better. Our good friend Joe Ferry from the Films at First Sight podcast has told me this. And and also the one thing I hate about watching Blu-rays or any movie on the Xbox, Blu-ray 4K doesn't matter, is you have to use the fucking controller.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure they've made a third-party controller out there, but like, fuck, dude, like I always press the wrong button, and then I'm back to like the beginning of the movie, and I'm just mad.
All right, Mondo, give us your song of the day.
All right, I was totally, I was just bouncing a bunch of stuff around my head, but then the song I had picked in my head, I could not use because I remember I have used it before, so I didn't want to use, because we are recording this today on what day is today, Jason?
It is Valentine's Day, February 14th.
It is Valentine's Day. So also we are here you have two 40-plus-year-old guys. Instead of hanging out with their wives on Valentine's Day, we're hanging out together and doing a podcast.
Hell yeah.
Notice how Jody's not here because he was the smart one. But I'm gonna go ahead and pick I had some thoughts, and then I took another left turn, and I'm gonna go with this. There's a band from the UK. They're like you call them like avant-garde black metal. Not so much in your face and grimy and gritty, but they still play a version of black metal that can sometimes be a little pretentious, but for the most part, I generally enjoy the genre. They're from the UK, called A Forest of Stars. And in 2012, they released, I think it was their third record, called A Shadow Play for Yesterdays, which is a good album. But there is a bonus track on it, and it is called Dead Love. I think it fits in really nicely with reviewing a not so good episode of Masters of Horror on Valentine's Day, because that's kind of how I felt inside after I watched this.
Love it. I was listening to a band this week. I'm trying to find the name.
Well, while you're finding it, the easy one was going to be Slayer's Dead Skin Mask, because the beginning, it's the chorus is "Dance with the Dead in My Dreams."
Nice. Blackened by Metallica also has a reference to Dance of the Dead, so I'm curious about that. All right, Throne of Iron.
Throne of Iron. I've heard of these guys before. They're a power metal band.
Yeah, they're kind of Iron Maiden-y. Which,
man, I want to say, and I have to look them up. I want to say that's the band. What did they put out? Like their first record is called like Adventure 1, and the second one's Adventure 2, and they're like Dungeons and Dragons themed, I think.
I mean, I'm not deep enough in Dungeons and Dragons to know that, but yeah, that's exactly who they are. Good job.
You're not being very helpful.
I'm just throwing out there because it just came up on my playlist this week. I was like, oh, that's pretty good.
I mean, I think it was based off like Adventure 1, Adventure 2. That was the two records I know that they did. So I'm assuming they're Dungeons and Dragons theme. I could be wrong.
Yeah. They're
fantastical. They talk about fantasy stuff and probably about wizards and sorcerers.
Oh, good stuff. All right, Mondo, you got any horror news?
Do I? That's a
Primate is now on digital. I watched that last night. It's a fun sit. It's definitely not the best movie ever, and the acting isn't great, but there's definitely some good monkey mayhem.
Not only that, though, it does have a very amazing hour and 23-minute runtime.
Yes,
and no point, and it's definitely not a boring movie. It is I thought it was a lot of fun. You don't go expecting some like commentary on modern society. Nah, it's a primate fucking some shit up, and it's fun.
Let's see. There's a trailer for a documentary about Heather O'Rourke called "She Was Here" that just released. Very sad story.
Also, this week coming up, we'll be releasing this on Monday, the 16th, President's Day. But this week coming out is Psycho Killer. Hits theaters this week.
Which one's that?
It's a movie, Jason. It's a horror movie.
Oh, okay.
As
Like
a
based off the
person,
Talking Head song, or
no, it is not based on the Talking Head song. It'd be really weird. I mean, everyone's got one Talking Head. It'd be really weird if you had two, though.
I'm actually I'm a big Talking Heads fan. They did a really cool music video for Psycho Killer recently with Saoirse Ronan.
I don't know who that is.
She's an actress. If you saw her, you'd recognize her, like Lady Bird.
I haven't seen
what else she's in.
Bird. I will say, do you remember the movie though that played over the end credits on? Psycho Killer played on the end credits of
Behind the Mask.
Yeah, fantastic movie, by the way.
Fantastic movie. Filmed up in Oregon.
There's also Psycho Killer. It looks like a nasty little slasher film. I forgot, man. I'm just gonna butcher it, but I forgot who directed it. But it's from a somewhat prominent horror director. Which, God, this makes for great radio when the fucking hosts aren't prepared and can't remember the name of the people. I'm just gonna stop looking for it. I'm just gonna give up because every look up Psycho, I'm gonna type in Psycho Killer movie, and that's just too many words to type.
There's gonna be too many hits on that one.
But Jason, you mentioned that this week coming up in streaming is going to be Bone Temple.
Yes.
And you can and like Jason said at the beginning of the episode, you can listen to that on our Patreon, our Jason's review of that. They've also talked with their good friend Allison from the Who's There podcast.
Yeah.
Who's There podcast. There's also a Mike Flanagan just signed on to do another Stephen King adaptation.
Yeah, for The Mist.
For The Mist. I am interested. The Mist to me I really enjoyed The Mist.
Mm-hmm.
But the ending was so fucking bleak. I'm not saying that as a bad thing, but the ending was not that bleak in the Stephen King novel. So I'm really interested to see if Mike Flanagan kind of goes a little bit more extreme with it, like the original, like the 2007 film did, or if that movie's 18 years old. Jesus Christ. It's fucking so weird because he said a remake, and I'm thinking in my head, like, we just did that movie. No, we did it almost 20 years ago. But we talked about before, I'm not the biggest fan of remakes usually, especially remaking a film so quickly like that. But again, I think Flanagan's going to have a complete different eye for it, and it's going to be way different than the original was. But if anybody does have the original on 4K, or I think it's on the Blu-ray set too, maybe even the DVD set, they do a really great version of it in black and white, which I think enhances that film even more because it does hide some of the effects that don't maybe look as great. Some of the CGI that doesn't look as great, just looks better in black or white.
Yes. Speaking of remakes, we just put out an interview with Mike P. Nelson, who directed The Wrong Turn. I'm still reimagining than the remake, the new Silent Night, Deadly Nights, and he did the Friday 13th Sweet Revenge short film. I got to talk to him about all those projects, his work on VHS 85. Really, really cool guy. Great stories. So everyone should go check that out as well.
And something Regal Cinemas is doing, just let everybody know, for the next few months. They are doing because there's a Friday the 13th next month, and one in April too, I think, maybe, or May. I don't remember exactly when the next one was, but yesterday they did the first two movies of Friday the 13th franchise. I think next month they're going to do 3 and 4 in theaters, and 3 is going to be in 3D.
Oh, cool.
So I think I'm gonna go try to check that out next month.
Yeah, though it's very ham-fisted 3D, which I mean all 3D was back in the 80s.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, but they did it too when we had that back in the I guess 2000, the early aughts, I guess people call them, or like late, like 2010 or so, when every movie, it seemed like it had a 3D version, and it was kind of jarring in that you would, if you watch those movies in 2D, you like My Bloody Valentine remake, or Clash of the Titans was another one that had these parts that were just in there for the 3D effect. And like there's one, and I still remember in Clash of Titans, he like just randomly tosses a coin, and so the camera goes around and follows the coin, so it's like it's coming right at you. And I was like, that is so unnecessary to the movie. And I'm sure it was cool when you saw it in 3D, but watching it in 2D, I was like, why are they doing this?
Right.
And also, a new A24 movie is coming out. And I saw the trailer of this one before Send Help, It's called The Drama.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it's going to be romantic comedy, but the trailer was somehow very disturbing. It doesn't really tell you much about the movie. It's just two people getting a wedding shoot and they both look miserable. And it's got this weird, like, great tension surrounding it. So I'm kind of interested to see what they do with that.
Oh, that sounds kind of fun, actually. I mean, based on very little.
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of wondering because they're saying that it's like it might be like a comedy, but I was hoping it was horror because I'm like, oh, what are they gonna do with this? But it's A24, so they'll do something wacky.
It looks like it could be dark comedy.
But I want a horror movie.
Yeah. I'm kind of tempted to watch Hard Eyes again because I actually really enjoyed that, especially that beginning when they're doing the wedding shoot.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of watching that tonight too. Because do you guys have any? Do you guys have any Valentine's Day plans?
No, and actually, I was going to pivot to that for dad advice. That like we have a blanket policy that we don't do Valentine's Day whatsoever. We actively ignore it because I don't like the idea of being pressured into these things. Like you should be able to go out with your loved one, your special person anytime. And people always raise the prices, or I don't know. There's a whole like industry around it, which makes it feel icky.
Oh man,
we just kind of reject the societal pressure to do it.
We don't do anything crazy. Like we'll try to go out to dinner or something, and usually we don't even do it on Valentine's Day. We went out to dinner on Thursday. Had the worst ramen I've ever had in my life. Shout out to dude, and it pisses me off because there's so much good ramen in Las Vegas. But I had a if you have the Amex Platinum card, I'm not acting like I'm bougie here. I only have it because I travel so much for work. Like having lounge access when you get stuck in an airport for 3 or 4 hours, like which happens to me all the time. It is nice to have a comfortable place to sit and have some food and a drink and not have to pay out your ass for that. So, but one of the perks is every quarter you get $100 dining credit to a restaurant on Resi. So we tried this new ramen place by our house, and it was fucking like. I'm still bummed that I used my credit on that because it was garbage. Garbage food. Like the noodles are stuck together in a clump, and I don't eat many carbs nowadays. So when I went trying to pull them apart, they wouldn't pull apart. I was like, fuck it, I'm not eating them. But what I ate, it tasted like it was store-bought like spaghetti noodles that they just try to pass off as ramen noodles. So fuck ramen soru. Or Soru ramen is in Las Vegas. You guys suck. If you're ever in Las Vegas, want good ramen Sora, Sora, best ramen I've ever had in my life.
Now, I mean, I'm of the belief that sometimes places just having a bad day that might not be an indication of the overall quality. I mean, if you're having like one bad dish.
Yes, but our ramen was bad. The broth was flavorless. The bean sprouts tasted like they had like a citrus quality to them, almost like they were rotten.
Ooh,
and the appetizers, so we put an appetizer order in, and we had them within 2 minutes. And I was like, huh. And on the pork gyoza, it was hot on the outside and cold on the inside, and then it was in the microwave. Ugh, and they tasted like the microwave Asian entrees you'd pick up from the grocery store. The shrimp tempura was horrible. Everything was bad. Like there was not one. The only redeeming thing about this place was the young man working the register and being the only waiter in there was awesome. He was busting his ass, super nice young man. So that was cool. I gave it 2 stars because, again, much like I gave this episode 2 stars to Robert Englund, I gave the place 2 stars for that gentleman.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a ton of good ramen in LA. There's actually a place nearby that does like kale noodles. So they're like, so it's like it's not the kind of place that lists like the calories or carbs or anything.
Yeah.
But in my head, at least, it's healthier. So I try to go there.
Like, there's a place here that does spinach noodles. I know they still use carbs because they use like a flour to kind of bind them. But they're still better for you overall. And getting back on Valentine's Day, I went to Target today because one thing my wife and I do like to do, and it's not just because it's Valentine's Day, it's because it's Saturday. We like to do those like those mystery in a boxes you get like the hunt a killer or what from Target. So I went to go buy a new one because we finished our last one, and I was like, oh, I'll buy some flowers because it's Valentine's Day. Also, gentlemen out there. One of the best things you can do is if you're at the store, just buy flowers randomly. Like the best flowers to give are the ones that are just because. Like you don't need a special day to do it. But whenever I buy flowers, I always buy some yellow ones for my dog that passed, Freya, because when she passed, she had a little yellow flower on her collar. So we always and we have her collar on top of her urn, on top of a little box of her ashes. So I always buy flowers for her to put there. So I always buy yellow flowers. So I went and bought it was daffodils, and they're $8. So I rang it up, and they rang up as $8. Do you know what the item description was though?
What?
$7 daffodils. that they charge $1 more for because it's fucking Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah. See, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that makes me
like. I'm trying to avoid shopping at Target anyways because of all the policies they've done with DEI that I'm just not a fan of. But sometimes I don't always have that luxury. And if people out there are privileged and they can do that, like, it's awesome, and I fucking support it. But sometimes I need something and Target has it, and I have to go there and buy it. So is what it is.
Yeah, or it's more like there's a combination of things I need that I know Target will have all these things. So it's just
yeah.
Especially if I have my kids with me, I'm like, I can't drag them to 4 different stores.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I just bring that out there because I know I've seen people mention they're going to Target, and we'll have people get on them for spending money there, and it's like, look, it's just sometimes that's just the easiest. You just put a 12-hour shift in on the way home. You say you need 4 things, they're all there, and there's nowhere else on the way home. For Jody, for instance, all he has around him is a Target. Like, what is he gonna do? Like, he's not gonna buy groceries. They're not gonna buy like toilet paper. I'd much rather buy it from Costco, but they charge me a membership fee to shop there. And the Costco by my house is the worst place I've ever been in my entire life.
Yeah. Costco. I love Costco, but yeah, it's an ordeal.
But getting back to Valentine's Day, again, I'm also a big fan of not bowing into societal pressure. But again, that's kind of that agreement you have to make with your significant other.
Yes.
If your significant other is expecting something big for Valentine's Day, I feel like you guys have to figure out your expectations and figure out what you guys both want. I think it can go both ways, right? Maybe you're very anti-Valentine's Day and your partner, male or female, is very into Valentine's Day. And I think you can somehow meet in the middle and make a compromise that everybody will enjoy. But what I'd probably say, though, is if your significant other is super into Valentine's Day, fucking just bite the bullet and have a great Valentine's Day. Give it to them. It's one of those things where it's like, it's part of being in a relationship sometimes is like, doing stuff for your partner that maybe you don't love doing, but you're going to do it and you're going to have a good time because they're going to have a good time, and you're going to be, my wife's gone to pro wrestling shows and shit with me and she'll have a good time. It's
but you want to go to Rammstein with her?
Huh?
You want to go to Rammstein with her?
But I hung it. Well, there was a reason for that, though. And the reason was we both agreed that it made no sense to spend $150 on a ticket for me to see a band I don't want to see. if it was back in the early 2000s, late 90s, when tickets were like $40, I probably would have gone.
I know. I'm just joshing.
But I'm just saying, though, like, there's a big difference between spending $150 to go to a concert I don't want to be at, even though I do want to hang out with my wife. And what do I do? Well, what did I do instead of going to Rammstein, Jason?
We hung out. We met for the first time.
We hung out and put sausages in our mouth.
I gave you a hug.
You gave me
sausage in our mouth.
A fucking great hug, Jason. That was a great hug.
I think I'm a pretty good hug giver.
You are a wonderful hug giver. And I'm not saying that facetiously. I was like, we basically had that moment from Deathstalker.
Yeah.
That's how good I felt there. I was like, this is just nice. Like, I'm just, my head buried in Jason's chest. That's how tall Jason is. It was great. It was a good time. And then afterwards, my wife and I went to the Surly Goat, which is a great little bar in Hollywood, and had a great time after the concert.
Yeah.
So it all worked out.
Speaking of ticket prices, I got tickets from my daughter and me to see Beetlejuice the musical.
Nice.
And seeing like a live musical production is still cheaper than going to most concerts now, like of decent name people. So
that's why I'm very happy the fact that I'm a metalhead and love a lot of underground bands, because I can still go to those shows for $25. Sometimes even less than that. So my daughter and I are seeing, my child and I are seeing on Friday, we're going to be seeing Opeth with Catatonia. And those tickets weren't bad, like $70 a piece. It's at the Palms here in Las Vegas, which is a fantastic concert venue if anybody has an opportunity to go there. I've been to some wrestling shows there. I've never been to a concert there. I've been to wrestling shows there. And the wrestling shows were amazing in that venue. The sound is great, like when they're playing themes. And everybody I know has been there says the sound there is insane. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then on Sunday, I'm going to 2 concerts in 1 week, which for my old ass body, man, it's going to be a tough weekend. We're going to be seeing Exhumed with Nomas on Sunday. Exhumed is I've talked about him on the show before.
Yeah,
I love Exhumed. Just fucking gore metal band, but they're all about people's rights. They came out with a shirt that I have on the back. It said, after Roe versus Wade got overturned, it says abolish the courts. And it's a person with a chainsaw going through the chest of a judge.
Love it.
I like wearing that shirt out in public.
Nice.
Because if people don't like that shirt, they're people I don't want to talk to. So it's fine. I also have a great shirt of a Klansman hanging and on fire. That's another one I like to wear in public because if you don't like that shirt, then I just don't want to talk to you.
Good conversation starter, one way or another.
It is. It is. If someone says cool shirt, I'm like, you're my people.
All right. Well, that wraps up another episode. We appreciate everyone for listening. We would really appreciate it if you would give us a rating review on iTunes or rating on Spotify. Like and subscribe on YouTube and follow us at Dads from the Crypt Talk on TikTok.
Guys, it's Valentine's Day. Do something, even though Jason doesn't celebrate it, do something nice for Jason on Valentine's Day and give us that review on iTunes. If we want to reach more people, those reviews actually really help. That's what helps the algorithm.
Yeah, for sure. Also, follow us at Dads from the Crypt Talk on TikTok. And with that, we thank you for listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Follow Dads from the Crypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or I will follow you to the grave. No, seriously, you really should watch. But be careful what you ask for. You may get it.